Okay. Hopefully you can all see me. I'm Michael. I'm subbing for Lynn today. The other day while coming to my home practice, I just started lying on the floor, and I didn't really want to get up and do standing poses. So I thought, well, could I do a whole practice mostly on the floor? And this is what I've come up with. I was thinking, you know, with smoke, you'd want to be closer to the ground, but I think that's only true if it's warm. If it's cold, I don't think it matters that much. This would be the yoga practice if your house is on fire and you wanted to stay close to the ground. With that being said, I'd like to start the practice lying on our backs. So remove your cushion and lie on your back. And start observing your breath. You have the ground giving you some really good feedback. Since the air quality isn't great, I don't necessarily want you to take extremely deep breaths. I was searching for a poem and I found a really intense one, which I'm not going to read, but if you want to tear up later, go look for a poem by Blue Robinson about the Australian wildfires. I wouldn't be able to read it without choking up. So here's the other poem I found for this morning. Just for Now by Donna Fobbs. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant, just for now. So as you're lying on your back, I would like you to experiment with 3-part breath. Once again, because air quality isn't great, I'm not asking you to do your fullest, deepest breath, but palms up, and with your next inhale, take it into the deepest part of your belly, the middle part, and the upper part. And then slowly exhale. We'll just do a continuous exhale without 3 parts. And then with the next inhale, lower portion, middle portion, upper portion, and then exhaling from the bottom up as your diaphragm moves up toward your throat. Inhaling lowest portion, middle portion, upper portion, and exhaling from the lowest portion as your diaphragm moves up. And do this at your own breath speed, natural curve in your back, but also feeling how your lungs move your body, especially against the floor. And if it's more comfortable, you can do this with your knees bent. You can do this 3-part breath with Ujjayi or not. And then release control of your breathing and just notice how your ribs, abdomen, lungs, intercostals move against the floor. And then gently roll over onto one side and find your belt. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a loop in your belt. We're going to do the hamstring stretches with the legs. I like to have a loop. So just to show you, without a loop, you can take your hands on either side of the belt. With a loop, and you'll adjust it to the length of your hamstrings, but you can bring your hand in through the loop, and it makes it really easy to hold. So once you have your loop, lie on your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor, and place the strap toward the ball of the foot. And then continuing your 3-part inhales and exhales with your knee bent, engage your femur firmly into your hip socket, push out with the heel, and subtly urge your foot as if it's sliding forward on the floor. And with a long, straight leg, no micro bends, gently urge your foot toward your forehead. Now, we've all done this, well, most of us have done this many times. So how can we make it a little bit more interesting or different today? So today I'm encouraging a firm grounding of the femur into the hip socket, extension out through the heel, and then urging the foot forward as if you're sliding it forward on the floor. And with that in mind, keeping your hips firmly grounded into the mat, take your right leg out toward the side. Once again, bring the femur into the hip socket, extend out through the heel, and urge your foot toward your ear, your right ear. And at the end of your next exhale, with your next inhale, bring your foot up, switch hands, and then bring the foot slightly across midline. So you should feel no micro bend in the knee, and you should maybe feel a little stretch in the outer right hip. Come to midline. Change your hand back to your right hand, or both hands. And now extend your left leg, extending out through the left heel. And keeping the right heel extended, bring the foot toward your forehead. Maybe you're getting a little bit more of a stretch in the upper hamstring. And then with the next exhale, start bringing the foot out toward the right. Once again, extending out through the heel, no micro bend in the knee. Bringing the foot both toward the floor and toward your right ear. Pay attention to the extension in your left leg. And then with your next inhale, bring your right foot up. Switch hands and take it slightly across midline. You may find that this is slightly deeper stretch than when you had your knees bent. Bring it to midline. Release the strap. Bend the left knee. And with the right knee bent, put the strap on your left foot, ball of the left foot. Bring your femur into your hip socket. Extend out through the heel. Maybe you need to change the length in your strap. And then as if you're sliding your foot on the left foot on the floor, urge the foot toward your forehead. And with your next exhale, take your left foot out toward the floor and toward your ear. Extending out through your heel. Keeping your hips level. Both hips firmly contacting the floor. Next inhale, reach that left foot skyward to midline. Exchange hands and take that left foot slightly across midline. Maybe getting a stretch in that outer left hip. Bring that leg back up to midline. left hand or both hands on the strap. Extend out through that right leg. Long right leg, extending out through the right heel. And now urge your left foot toward your forehead. Keeping that right foot extended and grounded, take the left leg toward the floor and toward your ears. Once again, the femur firmly seated in the hip socket, extending out through the heel. Next, inhale. Bring your left foot up to center. Exchange hands. And take your left leg slightly across midline. Bring it back to center. Release the strap. Shake out your legs. Palms up. Lie on your back for a moment. And just notice the changes. So bend your knees, bringing your feet back to the floor. So this is, one of my teachers calls this constructive rest pose. So extend out through, straighten your right leg. And with a 3-part breath, raise your right foot slightly above the ground, then the middle, and then parallel to the knee. And then with your exhale, bring that right foot down to the ground. So femur firmly engaged into the hip socket, extending out through the heel. Breathe into the lower portion of your lungs, the middle portion, and the upper portion. And now my leg is at the same angle as my bent leg. And then exhaling, extending as you come down. And do that 3 more times. 3-part breath. Middle portion, upper portion, extending down. Now you want natural curve in your back. So no arching. This is some abdominal and core work here, as well as the breath work. I think maybe one more time. Lower portion, middle portion, upper portion, extending out through the heel, coming down. And then bend that right leg and extend out through the left leg. Hips are square and firmly contacting the earth, natural curve in the back. Extend out through that left leg. And then as you inhale, lift it 1/3 of the way, another 1/3, and the final 1/3 as you inhale into the top portion of your lungs. And then exhaling, extending out through the heel as you come down. Inhale, middle, upper, pause, extending out through the heel, coming down slowly. And then 3 more times on the left side. When you're finished, we can all meet in constructive rest. And just notice your natural, uncontrolled breath. And then with your next inhale, you can raise your lower legs up so that they're parallel with the floor. And then slowly, with an inhale, actually with an exhale, take your right toes to touch the floor. Inhale back. Left toes to touch the floor. Inhale back. So natural curve in the back. You're using some abdominals here. And alternate from side to side as slowly as your own breath speed will allow. And then let's meet back in constructive rest with the feet on the floor and the knees bent. And now I'd like to do some pelvic tilts. So this is like cat-cow, but your back is on the ground. So at your next exhale, round your back into the floor and lift your tailbone up. You're not leaving the floor, but you're tilting as if in cat pose. And then exhaling, you are arching your back up and you're tilting your pelvis forward. So supine cat pose. Supine cow pose as you inhale. Supine cat. Supine cow. Exhaling as you round and take the hips up. Back is still on the floor. Inhale as you arch your back away from the floor, tilting the pelvis forward. Three more times. Just because this is all floor-based asana doesn't mean it's not going to require some effort. And let's meet again in constructive rest. And now take your right knee, your hands around your right knee, and bring it in toward your chest. And take your knee toward your nose toward your knee. And release. And then take the left knee in toward your chest. And then around your back, gently taking your nose toward your left knee. And release. And now take your right knee in toward your chest, around your back, knee toward your nose, and extend the left heel. Bend the left knee, right knee down to the floor, left knee into your chest, around your back, knee toward your nose, extend out through the left heel. Right heel, excuse me. Right heel in, left knee down, constructive rest. Close your eyes for a moment and notice your breathing. Now place your right ankle on your left knee like figure 4, except we are taking the right foot down toward the floor. If it's comfortable and possible, your lower leg is substantially vertical. You can extend out your upper right thigh through the knee. And make firm contact with your right foot on the ground. Maybe even as if you are trying to slide without actually sliding your right foot forward. Urge it in that direction. And then when you're ready, come to center and place the left ankle on your right knee. And I didn't say this last time, but you can kind of hitch your hips a little to the left. Might make it easier when you take that left foot toward the floor. So left foot on the floor, left knee is nearly vertical toward the sky. Extend out your left femur toward your knee and urge your left foot forward on the mat without moving it. Maybe try a 3-part breath here. Can you breathe into the lower portion of your lungs? the middle portion, the upper portion, and then slowly exhale. Now we won't stay a full 3 minutes to move fascia this morning, but I encourage you in your home practice to try this for a longer period of time. On your next inhale, you can bring your knees to a bent position, your feet on the ground for constructive rest. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice your breathing. And then look at me for a moment, just so you can see what we're going to do next. So we'll start in constructive rest. We will take half of a happy baby. And then, so you're bringing your knee in toward your armpit, and then you would extend out through the heel of the opposite leg. If that's comfortable. If it's not so comfortable, you can keep this other knee bent. So lie on your back in constructive rest. And take the outside of your right foot with your right hand. And then it's sort of a happy baby. And then bring your right knee toward the ground, toward your right armpit. And if this is enough for you this morning, that's great. If you feel like you'd like maybe a little bit deeper stretch, you can extend out through your left heel, left foot on the ground. Notice what your breath is doing. Can you breathe into the lowest portion of your lungs, the middle portion, the upper portion, and exhale. 2 more breath cycles. And then bend the left knee, left foot on the floor, and release the right foot. Now take the left foot, left hand to the outside of the left foot, and bend that left knee toward the ground and toward your armpit. And if this is enough, stay here. If you want a little bit deeper, then extend out through that right heel. And once again, pay attention to your breathing. Some of you may be feeling a stretch on your outer hamstring, outer upper hamstring. Notice your breathing. Can you breathe into the deepest portion, the middle portion, and the upper portion? 2 more complete breath cycles. And then bend the right knee. Take the left foot down to the floor. Maybe windshield wiper. Come to constructive rest. With an exhale, take both knees over to the right side and take your right heel and put it over your left knee. Extend out through the left knee. And release. And then come to the left side and take your left heel and put it on your right knee and extend out through the right knee. And once again, can you breathe into the lowest portion, the middle portion, and the upper portion. 2 more complete breaths. And then meet back into constructive rest with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And close your eyes for a moment. And just feel the sensation in your hip sockets. And then use your arms to come to a position where you can watch what we're going to do next. So this next one, you're going to lie on your side, knees on top of each other. They're not necessarily going to be at a right angle, maybe 45 degrees. And I guess we'll start on our left side, and then we'll take the right hand to meet the left, and then you're going to extend out through that right hand, and then keeping at least a finger or 2 on the floor, you're going to curve it all the way. Here, you're going to rotate your arm and bring it out to the opposite side. And then you're going to come back. Nice, slow circles. And once again, we're going to do this 3 times to each side. So when you get back to where your palms meet, you're going to extend the upper palm beyond and circle all the way till the arms are in a line, and then start your way back. Nice, slow circles. So do 3 to each side. Fingers as close to the floor as comfortable.
Michael, do you bring your hand over your head in both directions, or do you make a full circle?
Hand over your head, and it's half circle. So you're only doing 180 degrees.
Okay.
This is something Holiday Johnson taught me in the 80s, but it's really helpful, was really helpful for my shoulders. So when you've done 3 times on the left side, then change over to your right side. Once again, knees at about a 45-degree angle. And then start with the hand extending beyond the upper hand extending beyond the lower hand as you make these circles. And when you've done the 3 circles on each side, or 3 complete semicircle courses on each side, sit up so I know we're all in the same spot. And if you've got blocks, grab a pair, place them side to side, and then a blanket or 2 folded the long way. Make sure you have enough room overhead. And then come into constructive rest with the bottom of your shoulder blades resting on the edge of the blocks. So if it's comfortable, well, let's start with the feet in constructive rest. So knees bent, feet on the floor. Support your head with your hands. And then you can arch your back and only bring your head back to where it's comfortable. One of my teachers calls this stump pose. And then if it's comfortable, you can extend out through the arms. And breathe in. If that's not as comfortable, keep your head supported. And experiment with the 3-part breath here. Feel the earth receive your hips. And with your arms, grow even wider as your awareness reaches up or reaches out. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. And then if you've had your arms extended, bring them back to support your head. And then you can extend one leg forward. And although I've never been able to do this, Lynn usually demonstrates that you can actually sit up from there. Now move the blocks out of your way. And watch what we're going to do next. So we're just watch first. We're going to start in constructive rest. And then we're going to take our right arm underneath our left arm and come into an eagle pose. And then, depending on your comfort, you're going to cross the leg over. So come down into constructive rest. Supine, this is supine eagle pose. Oh, the other thing, well, I'll describe it when we're down here. So, constructive rest. Now, you are may notice, natural curve in the back, that coming the right arm underneath the left or either side of eagle may not be quite as accessible as if you were standing. So if eagle pose lying on your back is not working for you this evening, then extend out, bring your elbows. Well, everybody try this first. So elbows extending into the air, elbows bent, elbows straight vertical from the shoulders, palms together, and then see if you can squeeze your elbows together. Some of you may find this easy. Some of you, like me, our elbows aren't quite touching, or mine are actually like 4 inches apart. So that's an alternative. Now, if eagle is accessible for you, the eagle arms, and you'd rather do that, take your right elbow underneath your left elbow and come into eagle arms. And then you can bring your natural curve in the back. You can bring your right knee over your left knee. And then you can extend out through your heels as if you were standing. So this takes the balance out of it, but it's not as forgiving with arching your back, or you just don't have as much, well, I find that I don't have as much mobility in my shoulders when I'm doing this supine. Can you breathe into the lowest portion of your lungs, the middle portion, the upper portion, and then a long, complete exhale. If it's comfortable, 2 more breaths. And then release your arms out to the side and lower your leg. Take a moment of gliding flight before bringing your elbows back up and deciding whether you're going to squeeze your elbows together or take the left elbow underneath the right. So elbows even, whether you're doing eagle or squeezing your elbows together, Try to keep your upper arms vertical. And then take the left leg, bend the left knee, and bring it over the right, if that's comfortable. Natural curve in the back, and you can extend out through your heels, so flex your feet. Supine eagle. Notice your breathing. And then with your next exhale, you can spread your wings out to the side, lower your other foot to the floor, and release. So now lie on your back, extend out both feet, extend out through both heels, and now, as if you were doing tree pose, bring your right foot in to wherever you want to meet your left leg. So right knee bent. And since we're not having to deal with balance, you might be able to play with bringing your heel higher toward your groin. And you can keep your arms out to the side, or you can bring them along your ears, reaching out through your fingertips. So this is a supine tree. You can play with opening up the front of your hips. And you can just notice how this feels a little bit different than if you were standing. And you have a little bit more opportunity to open the hip sockets. And then you can take your arms out to the side, release your right leg, extend out through the right heel, bend the left leg, bring the left foot in as high up as comfortable on your right leg. So supine tree pose. And then you can extend your hands beside your arms beside your ears, extend out through your fingertips. And take your attention into the hip sockets. You'll have natural curve in the back, but see if you can open up the front of the hips. One more breath. Bend the knees, roll over onto the side, and take a look at what I'm going to demonstrate next. So I'm going to start on your left side, arm out. And then this is side lying tree pose. So we just did this on our back. We're going to be on our left side, and then you're going to bend your right leg and place the heel as close to the groin as comfortable. And if it's comfortable, you can extend your arm by both ears. This is going to take a little bit more effort than where we were doing this on our back. And once again, play with opening up the front of the hips. And then when you're ready, you can release that side and come to the right side and do the same thing. So lying on the right side, you can bend your left knee and bring your left heel as far up your right leg as comfortable. Extend out through the right heel. And you can bring your left arm overhead along your ear. And play with opening the front of the hips. And then release. Okay. This next one, just watch for a moment. So we're going to start prone on the ground, arms extended out to the side, so just watch. And then first we're going to bend the left elbow, and then we're going to slowly roll, and don't take it more than is comfortable for you. So this is like the arm stretch at the wall, but this will be an arm stretch on the floor. And only take your torso up to where it's comfortable. If you find this to be easy. Now I like to balance by taking my upper foot back a little. Some people can place it here. And then if it's comfortable, you can lift the arm to the sky. You could lift the leg to the sky. So if you haven't already, start prone, arms extended out, and palm, your right palm firmly on the floor. Your head facing toward the left, and then roll onto your right side. And I'm bracing myself with my left hand. And I'm taking my upper foot, my left foot, a little bit back to help with my balance. And then if it's comfortable, you can bring your left hand up toward the sky. You can also extend your left foot up toward the sky. And then release. And then you can lie on your left side. Well, actually, lie prone. And then firm grip of the left palm into the floor and roll onto the left side. You can use your right hand to help balance you. You're extending out through the left arm. So we don't want the shoulder to roll in. So we want to keep the shoulder blade on our back. And then if it's comfortable, you can raise your right arm. You can raise your right leg. And breathe in. 2 more breaths. And release. And let's come to table. Take the right leg back, the left arm out. Extend out through that right heel. So lift the right foot off the floor and then bring it over. Oh. And then cross over. So you're doing a little bit of a side bend with the lower portion of your body. And then release. Take the left leg back. The right arm forward. Raise the left foot. Take it over to the right side. And just get a good stretch along the left outer hip. And then release. And come down to the floor. So hands in cobra position. Ground the tops of the feet into the floor. And then with a 3-part breath, lowest portion come up, middle portion come up a little further, upper portion of the lungs glancing forward, and then a long, slow release of your breath as you come down. So inhaling into cobra, low cobra, middle cobra, upper cobra, and then release to the ground. Twice more at your own breath speed. And then when you're ready, look up. So just watch this one. So we're going to start side lying, and then we're going to, we're going to have our knees bent, and then we're going to twist toward the floor with our torso. So let's start on the right side. Knees bent, almost a right angle. Lengthen out through the torso, and then fold to the floor. Can you breathe into the lowest portion of your lungs? The middle portion, the upper portion. Two more breaths. And then roll over onto your other side. Knees at almost 90 degrees. arms for support, and twist toward the floor. And see if you can keep your knees on top of each other without the top one reaching forward. Two more breaths. And then when you're ready, come up and grab a couple of blankets, opening wide. So on top of each other, I find it helpful to smooth out the wrinkles. This is a frog pose variation. If you've done this before and know how to get out, you can start getting into it. If you haven't done this before, the important thing is knowing how to get out. So before I take us in, the way to come out is to glide forward onto your elbows and bring your knees in and rock from side to side. Now that you remember that, so you can start in a table position and then gradually lengthen your knees away from each other. Your feet are at basically right angles. You're extending out through your heels. Natural curve in your back. You can come down to your elbows. Your hips are in line with your knees, although you can play with that, coming a little bit forward, coming a little bit back, finding those sticky areas. And if you want to dwell in one of those sticky spots, you're welcome to it. If your pubis reaches the floor, you've gone too far. Some of you might be experiencing a stretch of the inner thighs. In this pose, can you do a 3-part breath? Breathing into the lowest portion of your lungs, the middle portion, and the upper portion. And we won't stay here for the full 3 minutes. So when you're ready, you can slide your torso forward over your elbows, bring your knees together, and rock from side to side. And then I would like to do a supported Baddha Konasana. So 2 blankets, or maybe if you have a bolster that isn't too high or too too thick, you can use that. So with blankets, fold it like so. They can be a little bit, they don't have to be flush. The top one can be just a little bit further back from the others. If you've got a bolster, you're not going to have that little angle, but you may get a tiny bit more height, but not too much height. And then if you've got, well, we won't need a third blanket. What you're going to ultimately do is fold this back to have a little bit of a headrest. So if you want to dim your lights or have an eye bag ready, you can stay in Baddha Konasana for your Shavasana. But so you're sitting on the floor with your hips on the mat in front of the blanket, and you can bring yourself back. Oh. Blocks, have blocks handy. And then feet together, you can support the underside of your thighs with the blocks at an angle. And you can fold the blanket back under the base of your skull to give yourself a little support. And close your eyes, palms up, arms out to the side in a comfortable position. And start with a 3-part breath. Inhaling to the lowest portion of your lungs, the middle portion, and the upper portion. And do that 3 times before releasing control of your breath. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you, and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different. Newly born and vibrant, just for now. So if you're completely comfortable, stay here for a couple minutes of Shavasana. Otherwise, I invite you to take whatever form of Shavasana you prefer. Take a moment to lengthen your breathing. Bring your awareness back into your body. Maybe wiggle your fingers or toes. And then, disturbing yourself as little as possible, roll over onto your right side. Pause there for a moment. And then, using your arms, bring yourself to a comfortable seated position. Thank you very much for practicing with me this morning. Namaste. I'm going to shut off the recording and be able to